Okay, hello.
Hello.
I was like, boop, boop, boop. I felt like my dad trying to send a text message. Do, 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 do. Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Him.
holding Bash
Oh, my
earlier,
Lord.
and so I had to text you one-handed. So I was like, we can do check
This is when,
into. I was like, this is
this
so
is when we
slow.
need T9 back. This is what we
Yeah.
need T9 back. I miss T9, being able to text with T9. I got so quick with that. Oh,
Mm,
it's millennial
nice.
problems.
Yeah.
Or in
Right.
my case, really, really old Gen Z. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's weird. There's an unofficial
Mhm.
name for my group because we're too
Yeah.
young to be
It's like,
millennials, but we're too old to be Gen X. So we're just the outcasts of the two, and we're stuck in the middle. We
yeah.
get the blunt of both. We
We're
get the
both.
millennial insults and the Gen Z insults, and there's no like it's just that's what
That's
happens.
funny. You're a unique generation.
Hmm.
Um. Well, we're wrapping up January. It's technically February. We were gonna do this yesterday, but editing. Oh my gosh.
I forgot to
It's a
grab my
lot.
books off the bookshelf from this month.
Oh,
Oh well.
shucky darn.
I'll get them when we talk
Okay.
about them. That's okay.
Okay. So yeah, I finished Onyx Storm day before yesterday, so it was the 30th.
Yeah, Alicia texted me when
Um,
she finished, and I'm like, it was funny.
yeah,
I'll have to read you some of the comments that I sent to her. It was hilarious because
yeah.
she,
Her
uh,
reaction kind of scared
and
me, so I was like not quite. I
she's
was like
like,
100 pages behind her.
I
Yeah.
just finished Onyx Storm, and she sent this emoji. And
Oh,
I said, so, do you feel like you need therapy like they're saying? LOL. And I put a laughing face. And she's like, I don't know how to feel. LOL. And then I think I kind of spammed her with text because I got excited. And she said, and
yeah.
we started playing other things. But I'm like, it was funny. And she's like,
That's hilarious.
I don't know how to feel. I'm
I
like,
was
so
literally
we do need
like,
therapy.
it was
That's what we're saying.
like I was 100 pages or so behind her, and like
Yeah.
we decided because we had half an hour until dinner, and so we decided to read together. And I was right
Yeah.
beside her when she finished, and she like, I was like, so. How are you? And she was literally in shock. She couldn't give me a comment or like a thought or like
That
it
reminds
was
me.
like,
I
mm-hmm,
don't remember if I sent this to you or not. I saw in an interview with, or saw in a video, I don't remember if it was with, I think it was with Colleen Hoover, or it was like in a video, like a picture that had like a quote from an interview from her, or something.
mm-hmm.
But apparently, her and her editor had an argument of how the book ended, and she had to fight for the ending of the book, and she got the ending that she wanted. The
So
ending,
we
the
did that in last week's
was that,
recap.
didn't we?
I went
Okay,
over the interview details. Yeah,
okay.
because
I
I
was gonna
watched the
say,
interview at breakfast, and
yeah,
I was like, yeah, I was, because I remember telling you whatever ending it is, whether I'm happy with it or mad about it, I'm just happy that she got the ending that
yeah.
she
Oh,
wanted.
okay, I
And
remember that now. Yeah.
so Alicia finishes it, and her reaction was not quite what I was expecting, and it scared me, and
So,
I was worried going
okay,
into it.
is
She
it
made
is
me
it
think it was gonna
like
be bad.
is it like a like an ending where you cry? Like a
I
crying
didn't
ending?
cry. I got teary eyed a couple of times, not necessarily associated with the end,
Okay.
but yeah,
Okay.
I didn't actually physically cry. But there was some moments throughout the book in general that I teared up about.
Okay. Okay.
But I'm satisfied with it. Alicia has a particular reason why she's not quite as satisfied, but she just thinks it's okay. She's
Fair.
okay with it.
Okay. Okay.
So we kind of
That
disagree
releases
about
some of
certain
my
things.
anxiety because I don't want it to end
Oh,
on a I don't want it to end on a
yeah,
death cliffhanger or like him go completely bad cliffhanger. So I don't know, and that's not confirming or denying anything. So I don't. Yeah.
right.
But the issue with me, and I'm just going to jump in and do my update, part of my
Go for
update.
it. I have a worse poker face than you, apparently. So just go for it.
Okay,
I don't
it's all right.
know.
Like I
I don't know how to do this.
January was probably the worst month for this book to come out because
Yeah.
not only like we're in the middle of our big fashion show project, so it's where I have two
Okay.
classes of over 28th graders each,
Uh-huh.
21 and 22, and we collab with Miss I'm not gonna say her name. It's with the art teachers, 2 classes, both are over 20. And essentially the students pick out a base layer, shirt, pants, and they have to recreate an outfit of their own design. And this year's theme was decades. So we did themes this year and it's decades. So my students, I told them they can't just match a shirt with a pair of pants and say this is my outfit. They have to take the shirt and change it somehow. But my students specifically have to add sewing into it somehow. So whether that's hand sewing, whether that's using the machines, whether it's changing like shortening a skirt, changing shorts into a skirt, which is what one girl did, or like creating a dress, or making a dress 70s style, like whatever. Like they have to change it somehow. So it's like I have been like my room is organized chaos, and I've been everywhere. And the middle school play, I'm officially have like an actual paid position with the play now.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy about that.
Like the assistant director. And so I stay after. We're doing Tuesday and Thursdays through January, and then in February now we're doing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday after school, and that's until like 5:30. So I usually don't get home till 6, around 6.
And then you gotta make dinner and
and so it's like I will read sometimes in the evening. I've gotten to where I will cover up, and then the pillow that we bought. Let me see if I get this lovely thing. I will put it in my lap and I'll read with it. And I've been doing that past few nights because I'll have Queso stream up on the TV. And so I'll just push this chair back and I'll just cuddle up with my blanket and my pillow, and I'll go back and forth between reading, and I'll glance up and watch funny sections of history or parts of history, and then I'll go back to reading, and I'll just bounce back and forth. And so I did that probably a good portion of the week this week. But I'm only like 32, there's 34%, I think is what it said. So I'm on chapter 21, getting ready to start chapter 21. Okay. But it's what page is
that? Because I gotta know what I can talk about.
180.
Oh, I'm on chapter
180.
180.
Okay. So it's like I just feel like I'm pretty content with the pacing of how I'm getting the book. I definitely don't want to rush through this. I feel like there were books that I rushed. I feel like I rushed Throne of Glass a little bit. Not in the sense that I didn't absorb everything, but I just felt like I was so zoned into reading that series that I just read through the whole thing. Like that was my entire world in 2024 was that. For the most part. And so it's like I definitely I'm content with the pace that I'm doing. But there's so many more books on my TBR that I'm kind of like, oh, that would be fun to read. Or like I picked up another one. The one that I was glancing at when I was with you guys at Walmart, I think it was one of them, and I went back and actually bought it. I gotta show the cover. The inside cover's pretty. But
if it's the one I'm thinking, I think I grabbed it too, and it's on my shelf. So yes, it's a gorgeous book, and the prologue. So that's why I picked it up, because I read the prologue.
And so I've grabbed up a couple different ones, and I have several ideas of what I want to do and what I want to read and that kind of thing. And I want to try a new feature with Tome, which we can talk about later, but they have like polls where people can vote on polls and stuff. And so I want to have them pick my next read after Onyx Storm is finished. So I think it'll be fun. Yeah. Again, I'll have to, when we get on the topic later, I'll have to show you what my profile looks like, because it's pretty cool. I like it. It's very relaxed, very positive community. Honestly, the people that are established in book talk feel like it's a very positive place. Me, as someone that's just a lurker, that's getting all of the drama and all the drama all the time, that seems to never end because one person that's not within that community says something stupid about that community, and then everyone's griping about it, and that's all I see on TikTok. And it's like, I'm so sick of it. And I don't get that. I don't get that with Tome. And you were talking about Threads, and I think I may try Threads again and really try to push. And I may have you send me some profiles that you follow, like book profiles that you follow, so I can follow and interact with them.
About doing that.
Because like I'm to the point where I'm about ready to delete TikTok again, and I go through these phases where I delete it because it ticks me off. Sorry, but it does. Like,
Yeah.
it makes me so mad, and I have to, it's gotten to the point, if you press and hold the video, it gives you several options, and one of them is to mark that you're not interested, and it will close the video, and it will swipe it out, and it will say, thank you for your feedback. And so it's like, anymore, if it starts to rile me up, I just do that, so I don't even see it. And it's like, and that's helped, but it's like, it's just, I need a cleanse from TikTok. And I have the settings set up anyway that after 2 hours, I have to type in a code in order to continue swiping after 2 hours. If I've swiped for up to 2 hours, which I think is like the max, the longest max you can do, I think. It will say, hey, you need to type in 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever to continue swiping, acknowledging that you're going past your 2 hour whatever
limit. Yeah.
And yeah, but it's like, so you were talking about threads.
For me, one of the random thing that I was doing on Instagram is I'm getting a lot of like random posts of like art from books, and it looks intriguing, and I have a little snippet or a blurb, and it's like a romantasy, and then it's like most of them seem like indie authors, and so I've been adding a lot of those books to my Amazon wish list. So that's pretty cool. But I finished Onyx Storm, and if the annotation, I am so proud.
I'm proud of you. Like, your annotation, that's the first book that you've annotated that genuinely looks like one of my annotated books. Like, if I were to pull out one of the SJM books, like, I could probably pull one of any of those out, and it would, I'm proud of you.
I'm so proud. Thank you. So I had to change colors because I'd run out. Like, I was using green for half, and then I had to flip to purple.
I just need to send you the link that I have to all my annotating stuff. Like, I just need to send you that because Amazon has different colors, and so I just keep this in my purse. And it has like several different variations and the pens, and this was like a journaling kit. Like, this was like a journaling kit, had like a bunch of different style pens for like bullet journaling, and I bought a couple different packs, and I like the case they came in, so I just use it. It has a cool texture. It's the texture that I like. Yeah. Mainly. But yeah.
So I finished it. So Alicia's reaction, I asked her a couple of questions that gave non-spoilery answers for me. Yeah. And it worried me about certain things, and so I was going into the ending expecting to not like the ending. And so for that reason, because the ending for me was really good, I ended up loving it because I was like expecting the worst. And of course it was really good. And when I was reading Iron Flame, in general reading the series, I didn't think that anything could top Fourth Wing on how much I was hooked.
Rebecca said that this one was her favorite. Rebecca's come out and say that this is her favorite. So that tells me it gets good.
Yeah. I also, where was I going with that? A lot of the issues that I had with the series in general have been fixed and addressed, and also like Iron Flame, I remember telling in the book how it would go slow and it would speed back up, and this one feels like you're literally
cruise control,
dragon, and you're taking full flight, and you never come home.
It's a consistent speed. That's one thing I've noticed. There's no slowing down. You know, I didn't mind the classroom scenes. I honestly kind of enjoyed learning the lore of stuff, but it's we're past the world building stage and we're more into the politics and the plot twists and the twists and turns, the story of it. We're deep into the story part now rather than the world building at the start. And
I also feel there were a lot of twists that I didn't see coming, which I always appreciate, because if I can predict something, it gets really that's what I've had the problem with the military romantic suspense. It was Christian and I loved it and I really enjoyed the books, but I started to pick up on the patterns, and I feel like Rebecca Yarros did a really good job of throwing you a curveball or 5.
And honestly, I kind of want to read some of her romance novels just to get a feel for how she writes romance, just straight romance.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see how, like you said, how she does the romances and stuff. So, yeah, I feel it's been, a lot of people have said it's just a wild ride, and I kind of agree. And it's just, it's gonna be hard to find a book that I love and enjoy as much as Onyx Storm. And I feel like every time I read a book, when I get a 5-star read, I'm like, oh, this is my new favorite fantasy. I say that all the time, but like genuinely, I don't know if anything will ever top Onyx Storm. And then you add on the fact of like us anticipating it, talking about theories, me getting to go buy it on release day. Like that's the first time I've gotten to do that with a book. So the build up, the hype, and then that it exceeded my expectations.
We have the possibility of doing that again if you can get to where I'm at the Naxia series. Because she released, I pre-ordered the next one because she has it available for pre-order. So, there's a possibility of us doing that same thing. So,
that'd be fun. I don't know if I'll ever anticipate something as much as I did.
Oh, it's Storm, like, it's definitely not like, as like, oh, I can't wait. But it's like, that one, which is one of my reads for this month. I forgot the name of it. Songbird in the Heart of Stone. Like, it definitely, I was not expecting that ending. Like, that was one that I did not predict was going to happen. Like, it was like, not like a, oh, like type of ending, but it was like, oh, okay. Like, I did not expect that to happen. You know, that one of those things. Like, I didn't think that was a possibility, and it just happened. You know, that kind of ending. And so it was like, I'm interested to see where she takes the second book in that duology. The second set, like, that duology on that character, because I'm like, how is this going to work out? How are they gonna, you know?
Yeah. That's one of my February reads, which we'll get to. But, also... another thought, spoiler-free thought on Onyx Storm, but we'll be able to talk all of the things when you get around to finishing it, like when you get further into the book.
But we'll dedicate a whole episode to it.
I've never expected me to say this, but I actually genuinely think that Violet and Xaden are my new OPP. Like, I think I like them better than Rhys and Bera.
Cool.
And you know for a fact that I know I was
so. I can see it where I'm at in the story. They're getting ready to like, she's established who she's taking, and essentially they had that meeting, and she went all like girl boss on Papa Atos, and I'm like, yes, shove it up, and I'm like, yes. Sorry, didn't mean to get kind of intense there, but I hate that man. I hate that man with passion. I hate him more than Jack. Jack is useful. Jack has a purpose. Papa Atos has no purpose in life. Papa Atos has no purpose in life. I'm sorry. I'm done. I gotta quit yelling.
Describe Papa Atos as a lot of different things, but like that last little bit of coffee in your coffee cup, and you pour it out, and a little bit of
and it's lukewarm, and it's lukewarm, and you think it's not going to be lukewarm. Like, literally, it's the coffee left over in my coffee cup right now. It is lukewarm, bitter, and disgusting, and useless. And no matter how you warm it up, it's still going to be disgusting, and it's still going to be useless, no matter what you do to it. The poor elderly couple that's trying to sleep next door is probably like, what in the world? It's a good thing we only share a wall on the opposite side of the house, because
at least you're far away from me.
I can't do full earphone mode because I start shouting and I don't realize how loud I'm shouting, and it gets bad.
You live alone. That's funny.
But that was one of the one of my
section that you're going into is my favorite part of the book and
stuff. That's what I was gonna say.
One of the things that I love about it is
it makes me.
I couldn't put it down.
The way they're setting it up, like like Xaden, her ex, the prince, which there was a theory about that, and I'm happy that they confirmed that that theory was confirmed. That her past interest was the prince, or I don't know if it was a theory, if it was mentioned or hinted at or something, but I'm glad that was officially like confirmed.
All that yet?
He came in, so the prince came in during Signet training, and that whole thing with Xaden happened when is it Harden? I think that's how you say his name. Went to brush her hair out of the way, and it's like, at this point, I'm genuinely concerned with Zayden because he's getting so possessive of her that it's like that. He's not he's acting himself, but he's not acting himself at the same time. Like, it's not like not like he's going to kill her, because I genuinely think he loves her too much to ever do that, to ever fully let himself go. I don't think, like, with the bond that they've been connected with through the dragons, I don't think he would be capable of actually killing her. Like, that's my theory. I don't think he can actually kill her. But, like, if he were to ever get to that point. But it's like, he's definitely, like, he's very possessive, and we haven't ever seen a possessive Zayden before. And and it's like, but where this is headed, because, like, they just left the council. I'm literally at the very beginning of chapter 21. So, like, they just finished Riddick. The part where Riddick was insisting on going with her, like, on page 172, like, and he was oh, by the way, this is heavily spoilers, by the way, if you haven't finished the book yet. We didn't say that, but we just kind of went into it, like, anyway.
Yeah. Honestly, people should expect it at this point with us. Like, we can't ever not.
Yeah, you know. But it's like,
you've been warned now.
Yeah, you've been warned. But it was like the part where he essentially was going on about, like, whenever she's alone, that's when things go bad, and he wants to be useful. Yes. And it's like, oh my god.
Ew.
Oh my god. You are so useful. You are useful, my angel. And I'm just like, he just, like, that was, like, the first time he got... It was, like, the first time he's been serious. And since the most sincere we've ever seen him. And I'm like, oh, honey. And it's, like, and it's kind of just makes me think of, like, the kid that's always the class clown. That it's like they secretly want to be useful, but they're so used to just being the comic relief that they're afraid that no one takes them seriously, but they want to be taken seriously. And I'm just like, child.
I love Riddick.
I do.
One buddy, Steven, real quick, posted a question. Riddick or Cassian, you can only save one.
Riddick.
I'd say Cassian. Just because he actually has
I haven't read Cassian in a hot minute, so that could be part of why I'm saying Riddick, but...
And then he did resend or Zayden, you can only save one. And so I was like, nah.
I would...
one person was like, so you woke up and chose violence today.
Yeah. This is where we have the scene from The Road to El Dorado where we go, both. Both is good.
That movie is so memeable.
I know. Oh my god.
Michael pointed out, he's like, that's when the Bard and the what was the other one? It's like when the Bard and the Rogue go on an adventure together and on their own. And I'm like, yes. It's literally the Bard and the Rogue.
I'm trying to think of some things.
We had sticky notes at this point, so we'll get to the sticky notes. Because I didn't start sticky noting everything until later, like where I actually took writing notes. Although, fun fact, if you put the sticky note on the book first and then you write on it, you run the risk of actually writing on the book, and I've done that twice. So
I write it on the pad and then move it.
I learned the hard way. So the training scene, was he page 138? Is that right after they get done training together? And he's like, it's like the scene from the back of the book where he's like training her, and she's like, why am I the only one you're telling like all of your detailed secrets to? And he goes, because you're the only one capable of killing me. That line killed me. So I had to put a blue tab on that one. And I pointed out,
what page is it? 138.
138. But that whole section becomes like a professor and he's teaching everybody. I told Alicia, I was like, he's literally teaching all of them how to defeat him. Like, not really, because nobody could defeat him but Violet potentially, but like he's literally teaching them how to hold their own so they can survive against him. And it's like that, to me, the training scene with him is what that whole section came off as, and it really broke my heart.
In my head, it makes me think, again, it makes me think of Anakin and Ahsoka in how Anakin trained Ahsoka, where Anakin trained Ahsoka to survive, and the irony of like eventually Anakin turning bad and her having to, only reason why she survived is because he trained her to survive those types of attacks, unknowingly preparing her for the future. And it makes me think, I know, I'm sorry. Okay. It's a touchy subject.
Violet in the same.
Too soon.
Too much.
Too soon. But it makes me wonder if, like, and that's the thing is, like, Xaden was known to be the most powerful dragon rider to date. But he's now, yes, one of them and he has now turned Venin. Spoiler alert, by the way. And so it's like, if he becomes full Venin, he has the possibility of becoming the strongest Venin. So even if he doesn't actually become fully Venin, which, I mean, there's probably a good chance he will before he's cured, or whatever, or to, like, find a solution, whether a cure is the solution or not, or if it's something else is going to happen, But it's like, because I still haven't closed that possibility of that there's going to be, that the Venin aren't actually bad, and this just, history has been twisted. That's still a possibility in my head. That the people, that their government has twisted history so much so that the bad guys have been the bad guys, but they're not actually the bad guys.
You never know.
Yeah, and that's where I'm like, we don't know enough to confirm whether they're bad guys. And the fact that that one girl was insistent, like, when she met with Violet, she was like, when you come searching, because she was like, almost like, you're going to come searching for us. Like, this is going to happen eventually, and I want you to pick me and not this other person. And I'm like, sounds like it's just like the same. It sounds like they have it makes me wonder if they don't have like college and university and teaching type stuff, but it's like a mirror of what we're seeing with them. And it's like, that whole thing. But like, I could easily see him thinking, and Xaden thinking in his head, if I'm one of the strongest riders, if worst case scenario, I become full Venin, if they can learn to defeat me and fight me, then it doesn't really matter who they fight. They're going to defeat whoever they fight because they're used to fighting the worst. Yes. That, like, in my head, that's where that's him exactly becoming a professor and teaching that is like, he's preparing them for the worst possible scenario without them even really realizing it.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I love about him in general, is because his own well-being has never really mattered to him. Yeah. Once he had to step up after the rebellion thing, it's like, and he is such a good leader and he puts his people first, but like, even though Basgiath has done everything that they've done, they still came back, they still helped fight them at the end of Iron Flame, fight with them, not against them. Yeah. And even now, he's not thinking about himself. He's literally just like, all right, I'm going to teach you how to defeat me, even if they don't realize what I'm doing, And his selfless, nature is just so...
Oh, yeah. And it's where it's like, he reminds me of Edward, but he doesn't... But Xaden has more self-respect, if that makes sense. And less...
Yeah,
he's more adultish. Yeah, less regret, less, he has more self-respect and self-esteem, and you know what I'm saying? It's not the same thing, but that whole, I am dangerous, I have the possibility of killing somebody, but at the same time, I'm not just gonna hide around and sit around and mope. I'm gonna actually prepare these people for the possibility of me turning bad, which is something that in this point in the story, at least where I'm at, is a real possibility for them. For him, it's almost certain at some point I'm going to become full Venin, and, in his head at that point in time, that's a true possibility.
To me, there's so many similarities between him and Rhysand, but for me, that's almost where this book kind of put Xaden above Rhysand, is because Rhysand never really went evil per se, and that Anakin's fall to the dark side and his transition to Darth Vader is one of my favorite character arcs of all time.
Oh yeah,
not one of it. My favorite character arc of all time. Yeah. So when it's done well, it's one of those things. It's like, I don't know if Rhysand's character would ever top that, as much as I've been upset. Me, I was Rhysand all the way, only Rhysand, only Farah. And that's where it's like,
but it's interesting.
Really done a lot
and the reason why they always talk like, oh, like the shadow guy, you know, all the shadow whatever, like male characters and all that. It's like one of the things that makes Zayden unique is the fact in his situation specifically, yes, he has powers over shadow. Yeah. So does Zayden. Not Zayden, but so does Reese. We get that part. But it's like Reese rules, like, I don't know. And I get they both rule over kingdoms. I get that. But it's like, in this case, the main thing that's different is like Reese now has a family to think about and a kingdom to think about. But in Zayden's perspective, yes, he has a kingdom, but in this situation, he is, against his will, slowly turning into the enemy. And that's never happened with any of the other shadow guys, you know. That hasn't happened in the other ones, you know. Yeah. And it's like, they had a different term for it, but I'm not going to say that. You know.
Yeah.
Shadow fathers. But the other word.
Yeah. Like, so
it's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah.
I don't use that term.
I don't either. So it's like, I don't want to say it, but yeah, shadow men. Anyway, but it's like, that's the thing that makes like this particular series unique, is because they're fighting time, essentially. Like, they're fighting time, and it's like,
well, and the Venom coming against them too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's only so long the Venom, they're going to be able to hold them off. So it does have that, like you said, that urgency of time that's like...
Yeah.
And then you add the dragons and the world building and how good she is at fight scenes and just all the extra things on top of that. And it's like, I don't know...
Well, and the fact that the more and more Violet learns, the more and more she's like, well, I need to talk with these people. I need to go talk to Jack. I need to try to get information out of Jack. I need information from Venom in order to figure out how to figure out the Venom issue. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, the more she realizes that...
I love how she's information
based.
Like, she has that, like...
She's a scholar first. She's a scholar. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of main female characters, it's all, I'm a warrior, swing a sword.
Yes,
and, like, she's good at fighting and stuff, but it's nice to have, like, a smart,
knowledge is power, and, like,
character.
And I think, like, one thing it's, like, refreshing with her character, one, she's not overpowering. My hair is a mess. I'm trying to fix my hair, and it's just not working out.
I get that.
Okay, but, like,
I can't breathe still, you know.
But, like, one thing... Like, it's like, she's not overly powerful, but at the same time, knowledge is power. So it's like, yes, she's not built like a warrior in the sense that the others are. Doesn't mean she's powerless, you know, but it also means that she's smart, and she can be a girl boss without being masculine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, she can be feminine and powerful at the same time. She can be small and weak, but also strong at the same time. And it's like,
one of the things is like,
and she has to work for it. Like, she has to work for it. She's just now getting to the point where she can work the lightning thing pretty consistently.
And I love how, in, like, you know, like in Fourth Wing, okay, she has this disease, she has to work through it, get strong, become a writer. But I like how even though she has a character arc and becomes strong, her disease is still there.
It still causes problems,
she has to do to overcome that.
Well, and when
that she and Taryn have to work around it, where everybody else has it easier.
Yeah. Well, and spoiler alert for beginning of Onyx Storm, the part where Tarn gets knocked out, and she's essentially flipped sideways. I'm pretty sure it was like sideways or something, upside down, or almost upside down, and her joints go out. Her knee joint. Was it her shoulder or her knee? I think it was her knee joint goes out, and it's like, and it's like, oh, okay, you know, and it's like, that's, her disease is still there. It doesn't magically go away because she can will lightning and ride a dragon now. She still can't. If it wasn't for the saddle, she still wouldn't be able to ride a dragon. She's never going to be able to ride a dragon on her own. And I love that.
It's so unique, though.
Yes.
Like, it really is.
Yeah.
And I love how that whole sequence, by the way, spoiler alerts for...
Major spoiler alerts, yeah.
I never thought to do a scenario of a dragon rider in a tornado. That
I
for
didn't
some
either.
reason, I was just like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Dude, I never.
Yeah.
Why did I think of that? It's just like natural disasters, dragon flyers. Let's go. Like I am here for it.
Yeah, me
all
too.
the things.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so real quick summary of my January.
Yes.
Obviously, Onyx Storm was like the big one. I finished it. It's my last read from January. Prior to that, I did the revised edition of Anathalion. I did buy it, and I went through it. I do have the original edition here, too, so the physical copy. So, and then I kind of skimmed through that, those two, to kind of remind me of that before I went into Earthquaking. So I did Earthquaking, which was nice because it's like my first like YA, like teenager-ish kind of stuff. Fantasy, and it's really good. And that's when I started annotating again, but you can see it was like mostly the spiritual lessons in there.
Yeah.
So it kind of got the ball rolling on my annotation. And then the first one, my first read of this year and this month was Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. So which finished up the first duology in her Crowns of Naxia series.
Sweet.
So that's been my January. I was not expecting to have gotten 3 books. Yeah, I think it was 3 books read this month. But I did, so pretty much about that.
Yeah, you did good. Okay, let me pull up. I posted all my wrap-ups on Tome, and I was gonna get it pulled up, but it's still a little laggy because I don't think that they were prepared for the like giant number of people that were going to join.
Yeah, I did my
when it posted when I first realized that the app was available to download, I downloaded it, and it took like 2 or 3 tries for me to actually get my account set because I set it up ahead of time and saved my URL, my username, like URL and stuff. And so it took me like 2 or 3 tries to get that to actually go through, and then it took me like several tries, like at least an hour before I could actually get a post posted. Like they was so laggy when it started because like people were just ready. But let's see, in January, at the start of the year, from like the 1st through the 8th, so like the first week and a half, I was finishing up Songbird in the Heart of Stone, which I'm just going to go get my books real quick. So, ignore this awkward, weird transition where I get up and go to my bookshelf because I forgot to do it beforehand.
It's alright. I will babble and keep our audience entertained.
Okay.
Yay.
Oh,
but yeah,
I booked and everything.
We can still hear her though too, so that's fine.
I only need to get 2, but you know.
It's been a good month.
Oh, this warm weather is messing with my joints. Like,
it
I'll
is?
have this weird nerve pain in my foot. I had it on Friday afternoon.
My ankle. So we had an incident with our dogs because our stupid neighbors have this husky that they just let roam around, and the husky runs right up to our fence, and our dogs will go crazy, and we don't want them tearing down the fence. So like I was trying to get a hold of Lila, and she had her mouth open, and I was grabbing at her, and so it just so happened that she accidentally clamped down on my hand, but she didn't intentionally bite me. And then I was trying to get through the door, and the door hit me, and you know that bone that sticks out of the side of your ankle that's like sensitive?
The little knuckle bone type thing. Yeah.
The knuckle bone on your ankle. Yes, the ankle bone.
The one that hurts really bad when you hit
it. Will just hurt randomly because of that. Like it's like it might
probably bruised it really good.
You don't recover as fast, and I'm like, don't tell me that, okay?
Yeah, it's like it's weird. It's like it feels like, and I don't think this is even really a possibility, but it feels like a nerve slips or something slips, and it's just like it's a single little strip of nerve.
Is what Michael calls it.
It's like where it'll shoot up through, and I don't. It's probably right. It probably is a pinched nerve, which I have medicine for that, but like because it happened in my back before. But it's like it's just when I step down, and it's weird, and it's just the warm weather because my right shoulder's been hurting all day too. It's because it was 51 today, and then it's gonna drop and get cold again. And we just had rain, so it's like all of those things.
Girl. Yeah. And I'm tired of the cold. Like that shows you how cold
it's been. I want to get all the possible snow days. I'm sorry.
So so we're actually kind of tied.
Yes, I know, and that's where I'm very conflicted about hoping for snow days, because I'm like, Alicia won't be able to get to work, but at the same time, I want to be able to stay home and read. But anyway,
yeah, I totally get it.
I started this one at the end of like in December, like at the very end of December, like probably like a day or so, like either on New Year's Eve or the day before is when I started this one. So I finished it like on the 6th is what Fable said I finished it on. And this is the book 3, but it's the first book in the second duology of the series.
Yeah. Very confusing but fun.
It has like the ending was a surprise. I didn't think it was gonna happen that way. I thought something else was gonna happen, and it was like did like a 180 that I didn't realize was a 180, and it was like, oh. And it's like now the characters are it's just interesting. I liked it. It was good. I forget what I gave it. I scored it.
Yeah, I didn't go over my star ratings. I can pull mine up on Goodreads though.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that was your first read?
Yes. And it was the first one I officially finished. I give this one a 5.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was a 5-star read for you?
Yeah.
Where do you find your... I'm just going to be browsing this, but I'm still paying attention and whatnot.
Okay.
I thought there was a way to see your activity on Goodreads.
I think there is.
Yeah.
And then I actually restarted Goblet of Fire and finished it. This was like my read up to Onyx Storm, up to the Onyx Storm release, which was a 4 out of 5 star. It was good. I kind of, again, I don't know if any of the Harry Potter books will end up being like a 5 star. I can't remember what I give the earlier ones, but it's like I don't know. I know a decent chunk of the plot twists and certain character deaths, so I don't know if any of them are genuinely going to be a 5 star or not. It might be. Like, there might be a book in the series that'll be a 5 star, but I don't know. But it was good. I enjoyed it. Like, there were certain things that... There was a twist at the end that I wasn't expecting. So, a character that I thought was good... I thought was good and turned out to not be good, and I didn't realize that. So, I like that one. But yeah, and then I started Onyx Storm. So like essentially, I didn't start it the day of release. I started it the next day, so like the 22nd.
Yeah.
And so I'm on. I think Goodreads. Let me look. The percentage, 34% of the way through. So.
I did forget to mention my star rating. So, Ashes and the Star-Cursed King was the first book that I read this year, and I read it from the January 2nd to the 8th, it looks like. And I rated it 5 stars. So,
there you go.
And like I said, this was the second book in the Nightborn duology, part of her Crowns of Naxia. It's the first duology set, but it's like the second book in that set. So, and I gave it 5 stars. It was really good. And we've talked before about how she's a really good writer. She has these liners, like one-liners that are like really, really good sometimes. So the next book that I actually did read was Earthquaking. So I read that from January 8th to the 21st. So this one was like, took the majority of the month. But I really liked taking my time with it because there's a lot of like spiritual aspects to soak in. And I feel like H.A. Pruitt, who is a good friend of mine, she is so good at like following God's inspiration when you're writing. And so sometimes like with me, I do that, but I also get muddled with like what I want versus the inspiration. But there's a lot of like spiritual truths, and like it just is so nostalgic in a way. It makes you feel like a kid again, and it's just like it's this we had a ball, but we're okay. It's like an adventure. And so I gave this 4 stars. But it was like I had to rate it 4 stars on Goodreads because for me it was like 4.5. It was actually like better than the first book, but it's not quite a 5-star read yet. But it, it's about teenagers, so I don't know if it's ever gonna be like a 5-star read. But like I know that the next books get really, really good. So I'm really wanting to finish this series too. So that was the next one. And obviously the last one was Onyx Storm, which was a 5-star read. I need more stars for this book. Honestly, 5 is not near enough because it's like a tier above all my other 5-star reads. So it's like all the stars, I guess. So those were my January reads.
Yeah.
So February, I guess we can go back and forth. So I'm gonna go first because I have to show you. You're a cover buyer, so I'm sorry for what may happen as a result of this, but
Ooh.
oh my gosh, I get my thing out of the way. But this is my friend Poppy Karaoke. And
oh, that's pretty.
I was like, oh. I did a short on our channel that was like my first time seeing this. Like my reaction is really funny. But the pages are hilarious. Not hilarious, beautiful. My reaction's hilarious. But so yeah, for some reason I didn't know she was from Scotland. So she's like actually from Scotland, and I know she married and she married a Japanese man and had a son, and she lived in Tokyo, or I think she still lives in Tokyo right now. I don't know if she's moved or whatever, but I'm already on page 56 in this.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Because essentially it's a clean version of Outlander. So Outlander is like a spicy time traveling romance, whereas this one's a time traveling romance, but it's set in Japan.
There's a series that I started that I never finished. That was a time travel romance series. That was like a clean one. And I have never finished it. Yeah.
Time traveling romances are like my like secret delight. Like I don't know what the term is.
Time travel. Okay. My guilty pleasure was the Wattpad ones that were to ancient Egypt. That was my real guilty pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. But yeah, so Outlander has some spice, but this one is like Japan. But the fun thing about this book is it's the sock. I have the terms. Oh my gosh. Where's that? Satsuma Rebellion. So if you remember in Immortal, they were against the Satsuma Choshu domain. Well, 10 years after that, when the new government takes over, the Satsuma who helped bring that new government to light got screwed over by the government and started banning like all of their traditions. And so the last of the Satsuma rebelled against the government. And that's essentially like they all died. Yeah. And that's where the samurai way died officially.
There's just lots of people that die in Japanese history. Just their past. There's lots of death.
It's a romance, but I'm not expecting a happy ending. So the whole premise is that she is actually from Scotland. So she's got red hair, but she's like a quarter Japanese. And she wants to find out about her great-great-grandfather, who supposedly fought with Saigo Takamori, who is the leader of the Satsuma Rebellion.
Yeah.
And he's like one of the most famous figures in Japanese history. Like I featured him, like he was in a really important scene in Immortal. So I'm not like, I did it right. But yeah. So, and she's trying to find out about her father, and so she goes to Japan, and she's at the hometown of the leader of the rebellion, and she ends up basically at this shrine, and this bad storm hits, and she ends up waking up, and she's back in time. But we actually get to go to the guy's perspective that she falls in love with. His name is I know this, Ketchiro, so she calls him K, but Ketchiro, and he finds her. Well, first this woman finds her, and they're like, "It's a demon!" And they're freaking out because she's got red hair and she's wearing weird clothes. And so he and his other samurai buddy are sent to go kill this demon in the woods. And he's like, "It's just a woman; it's not a demon." But he's the one charged with protecting her and helping her out. And the thing about Japanese, though, that's actually really fun. Not only am I learning a lot about the culture, modern Japanese is actually really different than like the medieval, like most Japanese speakers can't actually understand or speak medieval Japanese. It's very interesting. And so she is like stumbling over her words and like doesn't and she's like, "Do you guys have a telephone? Like I need to call somebody," and they don't know what she's saying. And it's like this really fun situation right now. And she just figured out that I think I'm back in 1877 and I need to get home. Like she's kind of freaking out right now. So I'm having fun with this. It's a pretty book. And like this was part of my strategy for getting over.
I love the colors on it. Honestly, it's a very bright cover. I like the colors, like the oranges and the pinks and the
My bookmark is pink, so it matches. So I was really happy about that too. But part of my strategy for getting over the Onyx Storm withdrawal was like, okay, you know me, like I get in moods, like I get in a Star Wars mood or Assassin's Creed or, whatever, Native Americans and Japanese. I'm like, this would be perfect because I'm going to get in a Japanese samurai mood and then I'm going to binge all the Japanese samurai stuff that I can. And it'll help it'll help me get over the Onyx Storm withdrawal, which is it's still going on, by the way. It's still happening, but that's Takaga's by Poppy Karaoke, so that's my current read and my first read. And I started it yesterday, but I'm counting it as like my February read. So that's my first one.
Probably, well, I mean, I'm already into this one, so I'm going to finish this one, so I don't really, I'm going to count this one as, like, my first. I don't know, it's a February, it's a January read that I'm not done with, so it's, like, February read.
The carryover.
I don't know, I grabbed a handful. I don't expect to get through all of these, but
me either.
And I also thought about if I have, like, a dragon withdrawal, I could read book 2 in the Aragon series.
That could help.
But that's not... I didn't grab it. It's over there.
Yeah. Okay.
Over there. It's with... Yeah. It's my middle school shelf. So it's where Twilight series is at. It's where the Divergent series is at. And then I have Aragon and book 2, which I can't remember. There, so it's somewhere in there.
Okay.
Somewhere. But so obviously I'm gonna finish Onyx Storm, and then what I'm gonna do is on Tome you have like different. It's like, let me just see if I can get this to work. So you have like, you can decorate like the background of like your thing, and then you have like the different collections that your posts will go into, and so I have like a currently reading, which I have like 4 posts in. You can make posts and ratings for like, you can make like posts and things, and you can like tag books, like tag like a book in a post that you make, and you can add the rating to it. If you finished it, you can add the rating to it. But like, and so I made one for like pens and paperbacks that I posted all my January stats from Fable on. And so cool. As a post, like if you go to make a post, there's an option to like make like a poll that they can vote on. You can't even see. I don't know why I'm holding my phone up, but let me see if I can turn the brightness down if you can see it a little bit better. Nope. But yeah, like you can make like posts and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And so like a poll. And so I thought about making, so you have like the different sections, and you can add like GIFs as like and there's like different posts and stuff and different things, and it's just fun. It's fun. I enjoy it. Like after this, I didn't know what to read next. Yeah, and so I'm just gonna make so I don't know what order I'll read these, but I'm gonna make a post, and whichever one has the highest voting, will be my next read. But so I'm just going to show them one at a time. Okay. I bought this one this afternoon. I bought this one this afternoon. When I went to Sam's the other day, I did buy Dune because I've been wanting to read it. I just have never read it. I grabbed a book from... Okay, I got to rant for a second. This is not my February TBR, but I was going to show you anyway. But I grabbed a book from the back because I didn't want one that was tore up. I didn't realize until after I got out the door that the cover is ripped.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
I grabbed it from the back to avoid this problem. So yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That would make me mad.
But I have like tape. Like tape. So I can tape it if I need to. But I'm still bitter about it. Anyway. I bought this one.
So pretty. Yep. Ah, I know. I was like, when I saw that, I had to buy it. I should have bought that one too.
Okay. This is what Onyx Storm should have had for the pre-orders.
Freaking yes. Because it's black. It's black and gold. It's the same color scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Why?
Anyway, sorry. Anyway, sorry. We love Rebecca though, because we don't want her to kill off any of our favorite characters. And she's taking a well-deserved break. So the next book won't even come out until like 2026, 2027, which I mean, she has Ehlers-Danlos, which I didn't realize that she actually had. I didn't realize she actually had that. Like, I have a cousin that has that, and there was for a bit where we thought I have really loose joints, but that we thought that I had that for a bit, which I don't think I do. It's not, my loose joints aren't to that extreme, but I didn't realize she actually had Ehlers-Danlos, and I didn't realize that that's what she had until I connected the dots and heard somebody talking about it, because I have a cousin that has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome that's being diagnosed with it. And so it's like, I didn't realize that that was like what she actually had. And so I'm like, honestly, she's written, like, I don't know. Her publishers have really been the publisher has really been pushing her to write lately. And so it's like, I'm totally happy with her taking a break. But this one looks so pretty. And it's like The Stars Are Dying by Chloe Penarda?
I may add that one to my February TBR, but I didn't bring that one with me. So just know that one's on my February TBR as well. Because honestly, I forgot about that.
It was either between this one or the Half King. I was debating on grabbing the Half King instead.
Yeah.
It was a debate between these two.
Yeah, me too.
All right, what's your next one?
All right, again, no order. And I was thinking about doing like a reading wheel challenge because I can't decide what I'm going to read next. But with the poll idea, I don't want to keep repeating the same challenges, so the poll idea is really good.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, we can even.
I think I'm just gonna do honestly
different ones.
I'm just gonna I'll pick a handful, and then I'll just have them vote, and whichever one has the highest, I'll go from most to least, if that makes sense. So. Again, I think each month I'm just going to do that. Like for this year, I think I'm just going to go based on whichever one gets the highest voting is the first one, second is the second book, third, and so on like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like reading what I want to read, so not every month. Like this month, I'm actually debating because a bunch of books sound good, but like there are some months that one book will be
or if there's or if you want to read, if there's like 3 different ones that you want to read and you can't decide, like setting up a poll like that would help.
Yes. So my technically, like, again, another one on my February TBR is Quicksilver. I've been seeing so much fan art of Kingfisher. It's getting worse and worse. So I'm like, I need to read this book. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty excited to start this. I also saw some fan art of like other characters too. So I'm just like, this sounds so good.
And honestly, my first introduction to that book was somebody ranting about how it sounded good and the fan art looked good, but they thought the cover was ugly. And so like I had never seen the cover and they didn't have a picture of the cover. And so when I actually saw it, I'm like, well, that's not like ugly. But they're like, I just can't stand the cover. It was they're so ugly. And that's, again, the toxic TikTokness that I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And it's like, I'm so sick of it. But yeah, and I looked at it, I'm like, well, it's not that ugly. Like, it's just like, it's like, I know that a lot of like, well, and a lot of like the, well, and a lot of the
attracted me to this first because I saw that and I was like, ooh, it's not often that we get a cover like that.
Yeah, and it was like
the character or the guy character.
Well, see, and a lot of the fantasy books today have like more of like designs, graphics, or like items, but we haven't seen like a face cover in a while. So I don't know if it's just like because we don't see a lot of those currently that they're like, oh, this is ugly, and it's like, no, it's just you haven't seen one in a hot minute that's like that.
Yeah. And honestly, I can't tell if that's a guy character or girl character, but if it's a guy character, we get guy characters on the cover even less because, like, most of the time...
I think it's a guy. I assumed it was the main male character.
That's what I thought, so...
My next one... This one has been... When the Moon Hatched has been on my TBR list for, like, 2 or 3 months now, and it's like... I make a list of books that I pick a best list of books that I know I probably won't be able to read all of them in 1 month, so I can have options and feel like I'm not restricted.
Yeah.
And so it's like this has been like on my list for a hot minute. There's a few of them like this that are like they're not standalones, but I'll buy book 1 to see if I like the series, and then if I like it, I'll go from there. And it's like it just sounds good. And I read the inside cover of it, and I'm like, the inside, the little flap, and I'm like, it just sounds good. And I keep...
It sounds good.
Like, I just
Mine
never get around to reading it.
I have a smaller copy. I have the paperback, so it's tiny but thick.
And I need to go through, I have several books that have stickers on them, so I just need to take my blow dryer and get all those off. If you heat them up with a blow dry, if you heat
hardback is one thing. They come off of these easier, but like this one, I'm worried about because it's
if you take a hair dryer, like a blow dryer, and you blow dry it for like 30 seconds or so, it'll heat up enough that it will come straight off with no problem. At least from what I've seen, you have to heat it up.
Nice.
So.
Okay, so my next one obviously is Songbird in the Heart of Stone, which you talked about.
Yeah, that's good.
I really I feel like going from like Onyx Storm to like author like Carissa Broadbent is a good idea because she's really good and I love the Crowns of Naxia. Yeah. My only issue and why I haven't started it yet is because I'm holding a grudge because I'm not ready to say goodbye to Rain and Araya. And I know that based on your reaction and other people, I'm going to like this book. But it's just that first step is hard for me.
You'll like it.
Starting it means I'm saying goodbye and I can't do it yet.
I get that.
This is going to be one of those that I'm probably going to keep putting off
for
a while.
And it's like the other two characters are mentioned and the main girl thinks about them several times throughout the book. It's just you don't get direct dialogue from them, if that makes sense. Yeah. And it's like, and that's where it's like the characters, I think after she finishes the duology of a couple or a character couple, like after she finishes that duology, you still hear about them. They're just not brought up specifically. But sometimes certain characters can come back into play that you wouldn't think come back into play.
Yeah,
I forgot about that when I was talking about that book earlier. The ending was unexpected for several reasons, because certain things happened that I didn't think were going to happen, and certain characters were going to come back that I didn't think were going to come back, and I wasn't expecting. I was like, maybe this character could come in, maybe that one. I'm like, not this one character. So yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
it's a good book.
And so for me as an author, I love that concept. It's just as a reader, I love Rain and Araya so much. It's
that's fair.
But as an author, like I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Because I write a couple and then I move on and then I write a couple and the whole Valiant series is like that till the final 4 books. So I mean, I can't not couples but like characters.
Yeah.
Because not all mine have romance in them. But so that's my second one.
I only chose I chose 3 with a possibility of 4 of a 4th one.
I have 4 more to go, so sorry.
Oh God.
I gave myself plenty of options because I don't know what I want to read.
Okay,
so it's one of those I don't know what I want to read. So did you have one more? Or...
Yes. Okay. I don't know.
You don't know yet?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to dive into this yet.
Yeah.
Because once I finish this series, there's nothing left of hers that I can read.
Yeah.
If I start it,
I want to.
I will.
My thing is, I want to know, do I have to read the Throne of Glass series first? Because I'm ready to jump into Crescent City so bad.
Oh, you need there are Easter eggs to that series and that series. Like when you get to certain, oh my God, you gotta read it. You gotta read it.
Oh, dang it.
I'm telling you, I told you this from day one. The first book is the slowest. Book 2 steps up some, so you're like, oh, that was a little refreshing. That was a little bit better. And then you get to book 3, and you're like, and then, well, in your case, you'll get to Assassin's Blade, and you'll get all of the feels, all of the angst, all of it. The first arrow to the heart, the first crack and the angsty heartbreak that is that series, the first little voice crack of the scream of terror and sadness comes from Assassin's Blade.
Yeah. I'm assuming because of Sam, her ex that died or something. There was something about that in Throne of Glass. Sam.
Mention his name. Sam. Mention his name only in reverence and memorial. Do not mention him. I saw a clip. Oh my God, quit mentioning his name.
Do it again.
But I saw a clip that was comparing one particular scene with something later on in the series, like in the last book, and I literally almost cried. My heart clenched, like physically clenched, and I'm like, oh my god, like, oh, I'm gonna start crying.
So with our one
Like,
insert, I may or may not insert the next Throne of Glass book. Okay, I have a free insert.
You do have a pre-insert, so do I. My free insert is still on the shelf, but it's like, oh my god, my probably. Yeah. Oh, which one's my favorite? My two favorites, like I'm gonna have to look at the ratings because the ratings will tell me which one's my favorite. While I do that, you do your next one, your next couple.
So my next one. This was on my January TBR and I didn't get around to it, so it's Assistant to the Villain. Ooh. And I've heard a lot of people, like one person was like, after Onyx Storm, the person said they're gonna reread this book because it's a nice palate cleanser.
Yeah.
And so it'd be just a fun, lighthearted read to kind of after Onyx Storm to kind of like relax after Onyx Storm happened. So Assistant to the Villain is my next possibility. So you said you didn't have any more, right?
My possible insert would be the second book in the Aragon series.
Yeah, you had mentioned that.
But there's three or four different books. Like I really liked Air of Fire for one particular reason. I really liked Queen of Shadows. Obviously the last one is like the best of all, and I think it's the one that you will love the most.
Yeah. So I may insert the next book in that.
But series.
But you said you didn't have any more, right?
Yeah, I don't have more. You go. You finish all yours.
So I've been wanting to read From Blood and Ash.
You put that one on your. You've had that for several months, like your TBR list for several months.
Even before then, I've had the audiobook forever, and I listened to part of it once, and I'm like, okay, it hooked me. And I didn't know it was vampires, but I recently found out this actually is vampires. So I'm cool. Like, okay. And I've seen some art. So the main guy in this one's another one of the like book boyfriends that like everybody's obsessed with, the romantic book boyfriends. Him and Kingfisher are ones that I'm seeing a lot. And then I think a guy from Throne of Glass, and then there's one more, but I don't remember the book in that one. But yeah, so this another one I want to try. I'm in like a romantic mood, so I feel like this would be a good one.
That one could be
indie authors.
Yeah, that could be like a good one to come off of when you ever read the Songbird and the Heart of Stone too.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So. My next one is actually kind of special because one of the authors that I think she was published with the same publisher I was for a while, Ambassador International, and then like me, she got her rights back. And I remember at the time, I think she had talked to me a little bit about it. I don't know. But now I think she's self-published and she was looking for ARC readers. And so I offered to be an ARC for her because her book sounded good. And she asked me for my address and sent me a physical ARC. And cool. I've never gotten a physical ARC before because it's like most people send you an ebook because it costs a lot of money. Yeah. So it's called The Journey by Verity A. Buchanan. And it's pretty thin, so I think I could get through it pretty quickly. And there's no deadline. So like I told her I probably won't get to this till March. But I'm adding it to my monthly TBR as a possibility, just so I have that option.
Yeah,
I want to just read something quick. And I think she's because everybody that was published by Ambassador National was Christian, so it's like Christian fantasy.
Yeah.
Which, sticking with that theme, I really am interested in Water Falling, which is like H.A. Pruitt's the third book in the Anathallian series. And I'm a fan of blue. So this pretty. One I've heard, I don't know if it's this one or Water Rising, but I think this one gets pretty, not really depressing, but there's a lot of like sad moments or feelsy moments I think in this one. So, and I'm interested, I need to know who has the water necklace. I can't figure out who's gonna have the water necklace because I think that's the character that this book is gonna like be about. And so there's gonna be a lot of growth.
See that.
And I think it gets and on top of that, she was talking to me because we talk a lot because we're friends. She's working on the next book. So there's Water Falling, Water Rising, and then she's working on the fifth book. So I wanted to get this one and Water Rising done before her fifth one comes out. some time. And so she's currently in the process of working on that. So I was like, I need to get my butt in gear and catch up. So that way I can anticipate her release before the fifth book comes out. So that's just another possibility. And that would mean 2 of the books on my TBR list are indie authors and friends of mine. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Well, 3 actually, because I have Poppy Karaoke, so I am on it this month.
Yeah.
I'm so proud.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, I still can't get over how gorgeous this is. But yeah. And then a lot of those are like Christian fantasy, so like that's why a lot of my regular fantasy, if I need something gritty to read, like, you know, I'll have the gritty, like, because this seems like a relaxing kind of fun read. But then I've got like these that are probably more gritty and like, you know, more along the lines of like what my mood may shift to. So it's just kind of like a lot of different possibilities and stuff. Same with Quicksilver. I don't know how gritty this one's gonna get, but so that's everything. Big TBR list. I'm probably not gonna read all of them. My thing is, like you, I'm giving myself plenty of options.
Yeah.
I read 3 books this month, and my goal was 2 every month. So yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah, if I can get like 2.5 each month, then I should be able to reach my goal with no problem, I think, if I'm doing the math right. But during the summertime, I'll be able to have like all day to read, so I'll be able to get like a lot more read. Which, if I think back, like, probably, if I look back at like my January, like my year wrap-ups, I think there was, I forget, like in the summer months, wanting to say I ended up getting several read, but if I can find it. Anyway.
So I know you had a lot of topics to talk about. I know I did. So did you want to go first or you want me?
Yeah, we can. The next book that I'm anticipating the release for that I pre-ordered is Sunrise on the Reaping. It is another prequel book for the Hunger Games series. It's not really a prequel, but it's another prequel series. It's coming out in March. But there was a lot of originally they were supposed to announce there's going to be a celebrity narrator for the audiobook. And so yesterday they were supposed to air it on CBS in the morning, CBS morning in the morning. But there, if you didn't know, there was an airplane that crashed with a helicopter and pretty much everyone on board was killed, which is very, very tragic. And I think that was probably, it mentions on Hunger Games books, there's like a Twitter page, it mentions that due to the breaking news coverage, they had to postpone it. So on Monday morning at 8 a.m., they're going to announce who the celebrity narrator is. I was expecting, because I was trying to find it. I'm like, why have they not announced the narrator yet? And so I got on Twitter and I got to looking, and I'm like, makes sense. But I think it's going to be, who was the guy that played Haymitch? Was it Woody something? What's his last name?
Harold? A long last name, I thought.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson.
If they have the guy, like if they have the guy that actually played Haymitch read Haymitch's book,
yes, that would be
the emotion.
I love him as an actor.
The emotion that's going to come out of that.
I may have to get that. I'm reading that for March with you. I'm doing that as a
So that one's
whenever it comes out. If there's time,
and they have the book trailer that they posted in December, the cover reveal trailer. I think.
Have to do a reaction to that for my channel.
I can send you the Twitter link that has the video in it. So, all right, your next one.
Okay, so I got some juicy stuff. I got down this whole rabbit hole about the Fourth Wing TV show, and I am obsessed.
Oh,
First of all, I was like watching some Onyx Storm content. I binged all of Steven's after I finished Onyx Storm, because I was like, you're the only thing sustaining me right now. And I found this other chick reacting to Onyx Storm, and I was binging her content, and one of her TikToks was about the casting information and like rumors and stuff. Yeah. And I felt like she covered it better than like some of the articles that I was reading. So there's two guys that are like speculated and rumors to be casted, and one is the Houston guy that we talked about, that's like the Dune star that we went over.
Gotcha.
his handle is J Houston.
Okay.
So Josh, was it Josh Houston or something like that? I don't know. But anyway,
yeah.
And him and this other guy the other guy's name is Emilio Sakuraya. I cannot pronounce his name, so I'm sorry I'm butchering it. They both started following Rebecca Yarros and some of the producers of the TV show, and they both put like a dragon in their bio.
I saw that. I saw somebody make that comment.
Well, here's the thing though, like Emilio Sakuraya, I stalked his Instagram to see what he looked like, and her video talks about how he's been bulking out a lot, and he's doing a lot of workout videos on his Instagram. And so if you look at Emilio, he looks like he would be a great Zayden. Like, he looks like Zayden, and he's been bulking out. And the other guy, her take on it was that the other guy, Josh, would make a really good Bodhi. And they both put dragons in their Instagram, and they've been following all of the different people and stuff. And I personally, like, I don't think that the Jay Houston guy is attractive, but I do think he makes a great Bodhi.
How do you spell the first guy's name, Emilio? How do you spell his name?
Emilio.
How do you spell his last name?
Sakraya.
Okay, I got it now.
Yeah. So if you look at his Instagram, you can see his workout videos. And some of those videos, I was like, that is definitely Zayden, and he's really fine. You like, the more recent workout videos on Instagram is what you're looking for specifically, because some of his other pictures didn't
I was going to say, I'm looking at, like, Google Images, and I'm not content with what I'm seeing. Okay, I was going to say, I'm like, am I looking at the same guy? Not that he's bad. He's not bad. I don't want it to sound like I'm being judgmental, but him with short hair is not Zayden.
Yeah, he's got longer hair in his workout videos, and he gives off Zayden vibes, so you'll have to look out. It's like one of his first Instagram reels that pops up when you go to his Instagram.
Oh, his reels, okay.
Hey.
Oh. Okay.
It's like a motivational workout video. The other guy is
I see it now.
Houston. Yeah. So it's Josh Houston is the other guy. But yeah, she and the girl in the TikTok video, and a lot of people agreed that the Josh guy gives more Bodhi vibes than he does Zayden vibes, and I don't really like Josh for the Zayden one, but I'm okay with Emilio.
What was Josh?
Come down to the acting and stuff, but I love speculating.
What was Josh?
Heuston.
Oh, okay, I see it now. Yeah, I could see that.
And, like, a lot of the comments, like, somebody was like, Emilio has that Zayden energy, the way he carries himself, and he kind of looks moody all the time, which is so Zayden. And 738 people liked that comment.
Well, he's bulking, like, you could definitely tell he's bulking up.
Yeah.
And the videos really that are showing, like, he's doing some heavy lifting and, like, bulking for sure. So it's like, I honestly, I saw Zayden as being bulkier than Bodhi anyway. You know?
Yeah.
Like, Zayden just seems like he's a big guy. Like, because, like, when she first locks eyes with him, like, the thought that runs through her head is, this guy's gonna kill me. So it's like, obviously, he's going to have to be significantly larger than whoever they choose for her.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, I would be happy with that.
Cool.
I don't mind that.
So the other one, so the Josh Houston guy, there's one TikTok video that they showed of him that was like, okay, but he's the one that a lot of people are saying, like, that he could be potentially casted. And then we've already talked about the other girl. There's a lot of rumors about the Twilight actress being it, and being for Violet, and she rides horses. So she has that, like, riding form kind of thing for, like, some of the, I'm assuming they'll probably have to do a lot of CGI work. What was
her last name?
Oh, I forget. Let me scroll up and see. Mackenzie Foy.
Foy, that's what it was.
And she followed Rebecca Yarros, and she posted Onyx Storm to her Instagram story.
Yeah, I honestly think she would make, just her overall physique would definitely feels like Violet. Yeah.
And I mean, she's a good, like, we already know she's kind of
a good actress. She has longer hair, and she has longer hair, not that makes a huge difference, but it's like, she she feels violent, very violent. And if Rebecca learns from Colleen Hoover's mistake and actually casts people that would be good, not just because they're famous, but because they actually fit the role, then Rebecca will be just fine.
That sounds like a perfect transition to your next thing.
So,
Colleen Hoover thing. I don't know anything about that.
Okay, so essentially Blake Lively, it wasn't like she didn't actually like press legal charges or anything, but she filed some report stating that Justin Baldoni, the guy, says her and Justin Baldoni was also the director for the movie about Colleen Hoover's book called It Ends With Us. It's about SA.
Okay, SA.
And,
all right.
And like domestic. I don't know if it's like domestic. I've never read the book, so I'm not sure. But it's essentially about SA. And it's kind of like that concept of like stopping that cycle of that, and like it ends with us, that kind of thing. And if you watch, I'm not going to weigh in either way, but I really appreciate the like when Justin Baldoni has talked about his like what he wants people to get away from the book, get away from like what that he wants people to take away from that. He always brings it back like for the women, like it's for the women who have struggled and been through that situation,
right?
And I really appreciate that.
Actress that I really like in it.
Yeah,
I thought I've seen pictures of that.
Yeah. So essentially, she filed some report stating that, essentially saying that Justin Baldoni was kind of like being like inappropriate with her, making her feel uncomfortable and all this other, and was like saying that he did all these different things. Well, Justin Baldoni responded back, filing a defamation lawsuit on the news, on the a specific, not so much on her, but like on this news outlet, because they worked with her essentially because, and he came with full receipts, like the text messages that she posted as evidence were like essentially taken out of context, and he posted the full threads, like he's posted recordings, all kinds of stuff. And so now it's coming to light that not only is Blake Lively involved in this, but there's a strong, it's honestly pretty much almost not confirmed, but it's pretty closely confirmed, almost confirmed, that Ryan Reynolds is also involved. And it's kind of either him and Blake are working together, or there's theories by Candace Owens has like dived headfirst. You have to watch her videos on it because she's dived headfirst into it. But she essentially did this whole timeline. She's on the theory that she thinks that Ryan Reynolds is the leading culprit behind a lot of this. But the main thing I wanted to bring up is that while this was going on, Colleen Hoover deactivated her Instagram account amid all of this. She deactivated her Instagram account like in the middle of all this. And there was also there was kind of an update regarding her that said that she was retiring from a writing career. And it said the rumor comes from both Justin Baldoni's voice memo and Justin and Blake Lively's text messages leaked online, which just leave me saying one question: what the heck is going on? So that's kind of like what the article starts with. And it says sources say that Colleen Hoover wants to retire from writing as Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's legal battle continues, which honestly I wouldn't. It makes me wonder why. Yeah. And there's another thing going on with that too, is that Justin Baldoni owns the rights to the movie It Ends With Us and the sequel that there was talk of doing a sequel afterwards that he owns the rights to. But there's a clause that she had in place that if the owner person was accused of SA at any point in time, there's a clause that if the owner, if somebody, I don't know if it was just the owner, if somebody was accused of SA, that she had the right to take the rights to the movies back.
Wow. That's some juicy.
Yeah.
Tea.
And
oh
so according to sources, this following the drama turned legal battle, it came out as a result of Ends With Us, Colleen Hoover will reportedly no longer be writing. Colleen hasn't confirmed these reports herself, but stay tuned because this is definitely a story that will be following. It's important to note that she has 2 more book to movie adaptations coming up, and the one's called Regretting You, and the other one is Verity. Verity is the one that I read. I could gripe about that anyway. So the only time it says the only time will tell with the whole ends with us situation affects the author's future involvement in bringing her stories to life. But she isn't the only celebrity caught in the middle. Apparently, it says, I previously mentioned the rumor that Justin Baldoni's voice memo was getting leaked online, in which the actor-director apologizes for his reaction to Blake's script rewrite. Because essentially, Blake Lively started rewriting the script. And, like, wanted...
the actor, though? Or an actor?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
Yeah. And she requested, like, the raw footage for the entire day. Just, like, the raw recorded footage. Like, whenever like, the whole writers and the writers strike and all the strikes were going on, when her and Ryan Reynolds were both at home, like, she randomly requests all this footage. And what Candace brings out the fact that she had just had a child, so she was, like, breastfeeding and taking care of a child that she had just gave birth to, and it's like, when would she have the time to request all that? Because that's, like, hours of footage. So she thinks that Ryan must have saw something and requested all that footage, and she thinks that Ryan's behind all of it. That's not confirmed, but this is a whole drama. And so, yeah, and so I'm not going to read this whole comment, but, like Taylor Swift is even kind of involved because she is Blake Lively's friend and has been, like, when Blake first mentioned all this, like, they were making comments of support, and now even Taylor Swift has distanced herself from Blake, and it's like, you know, like, Taylor Swift's even made a public, like, their team essentially went to the news people and said, hey, we need to put this article out saying that Taylor Swift has distanced herself from, like, their friendship has taken a break as with being friends with Blake Lively and all this stuff. It is this huge thing that it's like, it's probably on the level of the defamation case with Amber and Johnny. It's probably going to be that level. You know, like, it's intense. So yeah, and there's rumors that Colleen Hoover, essentially the main thing I was mentioning is that there's rumors that Colleen Hoover is done with writing.
That's crazy because she's so big. Can you imagine just being her though, and you're just wanting your book to be adapted, and then these celebrities and directors get into all this stuff?
And there was rumors.
I'm wondering if she would have retired if this hadn't happened, or if this sparked her desire to retire. Like, I think it kind of sparked something. I'm never gonna retire.
Like, well, and it's like, and the thing was that somebody brought out on TikTok that there was an actor that a lot of the fans were wanting, that was not very well known. She wasn't really well known. She was an up and coming actress. That is what they ideally pictured as the main. I don't know if her name is Lily, the main girl character in this movie. But Colleen Hoover chose to go with Blake Lively, this very well known, very big actress, celebrity actress, over what the fans were thinking would be like a really good pick over this other person. And it's like, and the thing is, another issue was that Blake Lively had the character wearing, like, designer style clothes, and it was, like, weirdly layered, and it's like not what the readers imagined. This girl is like a down to earth girl that owns a flower shop. She's not going to be wearing $100 name brand clothing. And she would, like, Blake Lively was really pushing, because I think, and a lot of people were wondering if she wasn't trying to, like, use this to help push her clothing brand. because she kept bringing up the clothing and the design and the styles and all this other, and it was just this huge thing. And then all of this happened, and it's like backfired on them because she was filing, essentially it was just some kind of like report type thing that she was filing, and then Justin like clapped back and was like, no, actually this was going on. And in the midst of all that, that's when he even said, like, on the premiere, her and Ryan Reynolds made him and his family sit in the basement, like, with literally there were pallets of soda that they took pictures in front of on the red like the day of the release where they all walked the red carpet. Yeah, he was stuck in the basement for over an hour because Blake Lively and him didn't want the others there. It was, it is this huge thing. Like, it is drama filled. And that's another reason why I'm like, oh my God, I wouldn't give, you couldn't pay me to be a part of Hollywood. There was no amount of money you could pay me in order to do that.
Yeah.
It's,
wow.
Yeah. It's intense.
Okay.
What's yours?
So that's what it sounds like. So my next one is basically romantasy books to read after you finish Onyx Storm to deal with the withdrawal, and I just had to do it because it's like ironic that I'm currently going through that.
Yeah.
Click through our gallery for a list of books. Okay, I didn't know it was like a gallery. So ironically, When the Moon Hatched, which is one that you just mentioned.
Really?
TBR
Sweet.
That's the first one mentioned.
Oh, really?
So you're good to go.
Okay.
You're good to go.
Yeah.
Fate, Ink, and Blood, which you have, and I've thought about getting at some point, but you haven't been in a Viking mood, and I'm kind of like...
that's one of my book of the month books. I'm like, what book is that? I'm like, I have that book? And I'm like, when did I have that book? And then I'm like, wait a minute. I know what you're talking about now.
You did.
Okay, yeah.
So the third one is Quicksilver. So there you go.
Are they just mentioning any romantasy novel at this point? Maybe.
I don't know.
Who knows? Okay, what's the next one?
Heartless Hunter by Kristen.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
Kalari, Her Deadliest Enemy or Her Greatest Love, and the cover is pretty dang gorgeous. So, Heartless Hunter, which I did hear.
I'm a sucker for a good cover.
Heard about this one. So, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, a novel by Heather Fawcett, which I just saw this at Walmart. It seems like one of those.
There's a couple different ones that I saw at Walmart this afternoon that I thought about picking up, and I'm like, oh. Powerless is one, but I was thinking Powerless was one that I was holding off on because I wanted to read another book, but I couldn't remember for sure.
Red Queen.
Yeah,
Red Queen. Yeah. I have both. I'm gonna read Red Queen and Powerless and compare them. Yeah. I may do that in March.
Yeah. And then I'll need you to tell me if they're similar or not.
I will let you know. So the Encyclopedia of Fairies, again, it's got one of that, like, I don't know, it seems like more of a cozy fantasy. Yeah. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Like it. Another one that I've seen at Walmart that I've thought of. Ashes in the Star-Cursed King. I would say yes, but I just read that before Onyx Storm.
Yeah.
One Dark Window, Rachel Gillig. I have heard about this book, and I've heard a lot of things about it. And it has a really, like, unique, like, blurb plot concept. So that one I've been thinking about that one for a while. So those are the 8.
Cool.
Sounds like they just picked some of the best, but you know, whatever.
Okay, so have you heard of the Twisted series? Let me pull up.
Yeah, I think I have.
It's like, apparently it's a very, like, a steamy romance. Probably something that I'll never end up reading.
Like dark romance?
No, it's like, let me pull up, it's like let me get the full picture. It's like Twisted Love. It's like a light blue with a darker blue writing. It's like, it says, brothers, best friend, grumpy, it's a grumpy ex sunshine. I hate everyone but you, kind of. It's like, there's Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies. And so it's like a series. Well, apparently, it's the next book series that's famous on TikTok that's now getting adapted to a TV show. It's like number 5. Like 4 or 5 of the book series that are either getting a movie or a TV adaptation on a streaming service. And the whole reason why I'm bringing it up,
not creative anymore.
the only reason why I bring this up is like I am genuinely concerned that because of how uncreative Hollywood is, I'm afraid that they're going to start ruining book series. Like any good book series, they're going to try to adapt into a TV show, and ultimately they're going to do something that are going to make the fans unhappy, that are going to ruin the whole experience, because it's Hollywood and they don't get it, and all they care about is money and ulterior motives or messages, and it's like, I don't know.
But to me, it's like, even if the TV show of a series is bad, you still have the books and can just enjoy the books and just pretend like the TV show doesn't exist. So I would never ruin the books.
But it's like, even then, it's like in my head, I'm
this is gonna be adapted, and then it sucks.
And that's where it's like, and even in my head, I'm still gonna have like, there's no way I could read Twilight without imagining the movie characters. Like how they look, because you know what I'm saying. But it's like, even if I ever to go back to reread a book series that's been adapted into a TV show, all I'm going to see is those actors and actresses and how the scenes look, and it's like it just completely image. And that's where it's like, the fact that I love like these series here so much is because I can create the scenes in my head. I like the locations, I can create what they look like in my head, and it's like, and that's where it's like, is Hollywood even going to be able to... I hate that it flashes green. I don't know why my camera does that. It drives me nuts. Yeah. Anyway, but I don't want that to be ruined, and I don't know if Hollywood could match up to that level of, you know, imagination.
To me, do you think that adaptations, if they're going to do them from books, like if they must be done, imagine that they just have to be done, shouldn't they be animated or anime instead of live action? Because then you like, there's not a restriction to creating the world, because then you can do all of this.
That's fair.
To me, that's why animation is so unique and special, and like why I'd almost prefer that over like live action adaptations.
I don't know if I would prefer that. Like,
you don't have a limit to the world you can create.
I don't know. I'm just hesitant to have anything come into film in general.
Yeah.
But it's like, my issue with my issues with movies is they rush through things and they take important stuff out and they don't take their time. But my issue with TV shows in today's world is that you get after like a season or two and they cancel it. Like, we had the new live action, the second live action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and after the first season they stopped making it again. I don't know if they're gonna make the next season of that TV show, the TV show that they made.
Airbender?
Yeah,
they're still doing that one.
Are they?
They're still doing it. It hasn't been canceled.
It hasn't, but like, have they released anything yet?
It's gonna take a while, but no, they automatically said it's gonna be a couple years, but they're
that's reassuring. But it's like, that was like my main thing, is like, is this gonna be like another?
Is a good example, because it was a book. It's a fantasy book series that had 2 seasons and then was canceled.
Yeah, or like the series that you like.
Know that when I watched season 1.
Or like the series that you Mortal Instruments. Like it, like literally, they will either cancel it after a couple seasons, and they won't actually finish it out to completion. And it's like, I don't want that to happen to Fourth Wing, which I don't think Rebecca would allow that to happen. You know, she made it very adamant that she was very involved with the whole movie bit from the interview scene that I saw. Yeah, so she was heavily involved. So she is very, very involved. So I think, if anything, I think that one, if any of them will be good, I think that one will, because of how involved she is.
Another thing about that is, one of the TikToks that I was watching was this woman saying, she described the pacing of the Fourth Wing series in general as a TV show style of pacing for the book, because you're up and down, like every episode, every chapter is like an episode.
Yeah.
And she said she doesn't, and she personally doesn't like that. And now we've talked about how I love the pacing is masterful pacing for me. But she doesn't like that, but she says, I think I'm going to like it better as a TV show because it already has that episode.
That natural up and down pacing,
Yeah. But going back to Mortal Instruments, I did want to comment on that.
Yeah.
They started off with with a movie, and the first movie flopped because, again, like you said, it was just rushed and it was just horrible, and they didn't pick a good actor for Jason, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so the first movie was a flop. So then they tried a TV show, and the TV show was better than the movie because they had more time.
Okay.
But it got canceled in the third season, and so they said, okay, we have, I think it was like 7 to 9 episodes left, and they had to try to rush through the last the last little bit of the series with the episodes that they had. And then they changed one of the actors for Clary's brother, Sebastian, who was like the main villain in the whole series. Season like 2, Sebastian was like the most bad A actor, like the best actor for the choice. The second guy that they got changed, like he was whiny and dumb and a crybaby, and like Clary.
Yeah. Anytime they change an actor or an actress mid-series, it's just it's gonna be ruined.
Yeah.
Anytime they change a character, an actor mid-series.
Like the third one. The third one always, like, I love that movie, but, like, I can't get over the main female actress in that one because it changed. But, yeah, so it's, like, and then so it got canceled, and they had to rush through the last few episodes when it was actually, like, they didn't follow the books at all, but, like, for me, I separated the books from the TV show, and I liked the TV show for what it was until the latter half of season 3, when things went to crap. But... Yeah, but it's one of those, I'll still rewatch the TV show for itself, for what it is.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just... have to, it's like pulling out your teeth to watch the second half of season 3 because it just sucks so bad. So, but yeah, okay, my last article was the 18 best adapted screenplays, which I think they mean adapted by novels, which is on this subject. So if we've seen it or read the books, we will kind of say yes or no whether we think it's good or bad. So the first one's Gone with the Wind, and I think it was like
I haven't ever read it, but I do love the movie.
1939. Yeah, but a lot of, like, I know it's a classic movie and it's a classic book, so I feel like it should be pretty close knowing it's a classic. Another one, To Kill a Mockingbird.
I haven't read that one.
Which is another classic. The Godfather, which is another classic. Brokeback Mountain. I say Brokenback Mountain anytime I'm not that I talk about that movie very much, but Michael's like, it's Brokeback, not Brokenback. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So Brokeback Mountain, the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I'm close to reading that one. The Hobbit was very different from the movie, kind of. It wasn't like, it didn't make me hate the movie. But
Michael hates the Hobbit movies.
I don't like.
He read the books. And
I've never thought. I don't know. The book is way more simplified, and they make the storyline more complex in the movie, and they add like the whole love scene, the whole love into like Legolas falling in love with that other girl. Like there's none of that.
That was my favorite.
Yeah,
part of the movie.
It's not in the book at all. Like, and it's like, I think Legolas is not huge. I don't know if he's even in the book. I don't think I remember seeing him much at all.
The Legolas chick and the one elven chick and Keely or Feely, one of those two guys. I thought
it was like, I don't like how the Hobbit movie made Thorin Oakenshield. He's so broody and rude and disrespectful at the beginning of the book, at the beginning of the movie. But in the book, he's very like formal. He's not very emotional at the beginning, which kind of level up with the movie, but it's like you can see a difference in his tone. So that way when you see him at the beginning of the movie, him at the beginning of the book, my brain's getting crisscrossed. Okay, when you see him at the beginning of the book and the way he talks versus how he talks at the end of the book, like later in the book, because we know that he shifts and becomes almost like gets the dragon sickness because he covets the gold and all that, and it gets to his head, and we get that whole bit of it. And like you can, in the book, you can see way more of a change of character versus in the movie, he was broody at the beginning, he's broody at the end. And it's like, that's not how, you know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. But it's like, I like the movie still. Like, and that's what's one of those, like, shadow, like, what you were just talking about with the other series. That it's like, if you take the movie for what the movie is and the book for what the book is, you know, you can learn to appreciate both on their own without being like, like there's a word I'm thinking of, isolating them and not trying to like put them as one, if that makes sense. So
but yeah, number 5 was just the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So
yeah,
we were talking
I
about
haven't read that one
the
yet.
Lord of the Rings trilogy, which a lot of these so far have been listed besides Brokeback Mountain or like classics. So it brought up a question that I was thinking of is like, it seems like the older book to movie adaptations are better, and actually the movies end up becoming classics later on, just like the books. And I'm like, old Hollywood seems like it's a lot more respectful and like it honors the books a lot more than like nowadays. It's just like, let's pump out more content. You know what I mean?
Today's world is a business world. Everything's a business. Everything's a money transaction, and a money making opportunity. Whereas back then it was like, at least looking at it from now, looking at it, because like we didn't live in that time period, so we have no idea how life was then. But it's like, we can, like, looking back, it seems like they had more of a respect for just entertaining people. Which I know there was drama and it has its downs. Like that era wasn't perfect in any means. If you look at history, it wasn't, but it's like, I feel like they had more of a passion for just entertaining people.
Yeah.
And not so much of, let's do this because we want to get a big paycheck. Like, with Lord of the Rings trilogy, like, they made the movies because they wanted to entertain people and they wanted to bring this iconic series to life. Like, that was the whole point of it. But it's like, now it's a
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So number 6 is No Country for Old Men. Number 7 is Forrest Gump. I didn't know that was a novel. So
I didn't realize that either.
Adapted from the novel by Winston Groom. So The Graduate is number 8. Dr. Strangelove is number 9. LA Confidential is number 10. The Silence of the Lambs is number 11, which I think is that Thomas Harris. I was like, is that a Stephen King? But no, Silence of the Lambs, it's like a horror kind of thing.
Okay.
Number 12 is Sense and Sensibility. I always thought that Pride and Prejudice was adapted too, but apparently, I don't know if they're...
Pride and Prejudice was a movie,
Well, they talked about Sense and Sensibility, so I guess what they're saying is that this one's like a better adaptation of the book.
Yeah, I think from what I've heard, that the ending of the movie Pride and Prejudice is completely different than the ending of the book.
Okay.
So I would
number 13. Yeah, number 13 is Fight Club.
I've heard of it, but I've never read it.
Michael and I tried to watch the movie because I've heard it's like a classic movie now. But it was just really... It was a lot. It was bad.
Yeah.
The Green Mile, that's a hot take, by the way, so please don't attack me in the comments. It was not a good movie. We couldn't get through it. Neither could Michael, in my defense. Number 14 is The Green Mile. Number 15 is The Blade Runner, which actually has Harrison Ford in it, so that's fun. Number 16 is Schindler's List, which I know is a really good movie. And that was from a novel by Thomas Keeley. These are all from novels. Some of them I'm mentioning the novels, other ones I'm not, but... number 17 is The Shining, which is Stephen King. There's the Stephen King horror one. Never read it. And number 18 is Jurassic Park. So supposedly that one's one of, like, I've heard a lot of people mention that it's a really good adaptation of the book, but I've never read the
first movie. The first couple. And then it's like, literally, like, there's like the first, I have Jurassic Park book. I forget, but I'm wanting to say the first 2 are books and the rest aren't. Like, they just kept making movies past the books.
Yeah. But for me, it's like a lot of these on this list, it's interesting that a lot of these are like, the movies
are well known. Are almost as classic. Yeah.
As well known as the books, but the books are too. So again, it's like, goes back to that back in the day, it's like they had a different mentality about making adaptations than they do nowadays.
Yeah.
So, which is interesting to add on to the adaptation conversation.
Yeah, for sure. And then we're about to hit our 2-hour mark, by the way.
Nice. Yeah,
so I've only got one left after this. Okay. I did, and I guess this is old news. I guess this came out like summer of last year. I just hadn't really seen much of it, but it kind of concerned me a little bit. I can see the pros and cons of it, so I was just going to weigh the pros and cons. The Audible has a feature called Virtual Voice. It's essentially like AI narration. And so there's the article that I found to like read through it. Has like features and drawbacks. So I was gonna go over like a couple of those things.
Okay.
At the time this article was written, which was in the middle of summer of last year, it said it was in beta status. So I don't know if it's still in beta status or not, but it said that you could.
It's been available on KDP because it pops up on my KDP account.
It says so they have creating audiobooks with virtual voices free, and your ebook covers will be used for Audible listing pages. It says marketing an audiobook is simple and takes 5 steps, reducing friction barriers and time to market. You can select from a variety of various male and female, American and British AI voices ages 30 to 40, and Amazon may add more voices, accents, and ages in the future, which at the time of this writing. It says once you choose a voice, you can open the Virtual Voice Studio VVS and make additional adjustments. With VVS, you can add pauses, adjust pronunciations, and increase the speed of words. Authors can set prices between $3.99 and $14.99 and receive a 40% royalty. So is that decent or not from an author perspective?
I'd say it's a lot less than an ebook, but it's pretty decent. It's pretty typical for freaking Audible and the percentage they give us. So
it says you can preview and listen to your audiobook before publishing it. You can modify the audio or list price without uploading your ebook if you want to make changes. And it said virtual voice drawbacks, and it says the following drawbacks may appear when virtual voice is released to everyone. However, the following are some current disadvantages of use. It says KDP has outlined the eligibility criteria for the virtual voice service, but some ebooks may still be excluded due to unspecified internal system reasons, even if they meet the guidelines. It says this lack of transparency and the exclusion process can be frustrating for authors seeking clarity on why their works may not qualify. Furthermore, customer service may not be able to provide specific insight into the decision-making process, as responses often follow general guidelines.
I know one criteria real quick just to insert. When I put my books on Audible and start the narration process with like a narrator, on ACX, I mean not Audible, it's still Audible, but it's like the self-publishing version of it. When I put my books on ACX and officially get them on there and it's reviewed and then they accepted, they stop being available for like the voice thing, because I noticed that feature goes away and like this book's not eligible. So that's one criteria, but I'm sure there's more. But it's like if you do your book via ACX with an actual narrator, you can't do the voiceover, which is, you can't do both, so that makes sense kind of. But I'm sure there's more because they have a lot of different things like that that are hidden, that are problematic situations in there in both of their systems, KDP and ACX. Also, another insert before you continue. 40% royalties for reference. If you sell your audiobook for $10, that means I get $4 for every sale. I would only get $4 from every sale. They would get $6 for every sale.
So
do with that what you will.
It says virtual voice is currently designed to read English books. English may make it, which may make it challenging to pronounce non-English words. However, the Virtual Voice Studio pronunciation tool can fix such errors. So, like, for example, Immortal, that has a lot of foreign-based languages, like that would be a definite downside. You'd have to go through a lot of extra tedious work of changing the pronunciations. So I could see that. That would be like a nightmare for something like Immortal.
Or fantasy.
Oh yeah.
Immortal. Oh my god, I got a headache just thinking about Immortal doing that.
It says authors are limited to using American and British voices, which may impact their ability to accurately represent characters, settings, or narratives that require linguistic nuances outside of American or British English realms. Only one voice can be chosen to read text, which may pose a creative challenge for fiction authors seeking to bring their narratives to life through diverse character voices. While the singular voice can effectively convey the overall narrative and tone, the absence of the option of multiple voices limits the ability to differentiate characters, hindering the nuances portrayal of dialogues and interactions within the story.
That's the part that I wanted, like, that I would be more interested in it if it had multiple narrators and options, because I can't always find, like I did for Rogue, but I can't always find a male and a female narrator. And my books have a lot of female, like, you know what I'm saying? So like that would be one of the, so that's a big drawback, that it doesn't have that option. Is like, well, then why do that over an actual narrator?
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. It says virtual voice may be virtual voice may unintentionally skip words or paragraphs, which surprised me, as it is imperfect. Secondly, while computed generated speech technology has made remarkable strides, it still faces limitations in replicating the full spectrum of human emotion and nuanced delivery. Was another big drawback for me. Human emotion and nuances. It's just going to sound like Siri reading the book. That's how I would imagine it.
For reference, like I used to use this thing called SpeechLo for a while, just for fun and just to test it out. A lot of times it was for YouTube videos mostly, like if I was doing a narration. The lack of emotion is honestly very weird, and it's like, it's just not like you have a narrator. Like I've worked with Brandon, and he's reading this dramatic part and his voice will drop, or he'll get that tone and it'll give you the feels because you're hearing it from the narrator.
Like there's times where I have cried more when I listen to, like, if I'm listening to the audiobook of a book and I'm reading along as I listen to the audiobook is what will push me over the edge into crying. Like at certain points.
I cried in Silver Flames, even though Silver Flames didn't have as dramatic points as like Onyx Storm. For example. Like hearing it.
Yes, the emotion of it.
It's so much more emotional than just reading about it. I don't think I would have cried if I had just
it does say
by itself.
So it says it still faces limitations in replicating the full spectrum of human emotion and nuanced delivery. By contrast, human narrators often excel in capturing the intricacies of characters, injecting personality into dialogue, which is like we were saying, and conveying emotional depth that resonates with listeners on a profound level. So it does kind of essentially what we were just saying. Authors must update their ebooks to include content changes so the audiobook remains unabridged. However, if an update is made, the audiobook will go offline and the author must republish it.
I hate these people. Oh my god.
Yeah.
If they were the biggest place to sell your books, I would have given up a long time ago, but like we don't have a choice.
Yeah. So authors cannot choose the virtual voice sample. Instead, the retail sample represents what content comes Hold on. Authors cannot choose the virtual voice sample. Instead, the retail sample represents whatever content comes after the table of contents. So you can't choose what section you read.
Your first chapter.
Yeah.
For reference, the narrator for Hunter, Timothy McKean, he actually took pieces from the first couple chapters and kind of made a mesh of things. It was like an audio trailer for his. And other people will choose the most dramatic points from the first chapter or the second chapter, usually, in my experience.
Yeah, so this one is kind of is common, which you've even told me about before. Authors are limited to selling their work within a predetermined this is different. Authors are limited to sell their work within a predetermined price range, which may restrict their ability to experiment with different pricing modes or promotional strategies to enhance visibility and sales. And then virtual voice may exclude text it deems promotional or useless to the listener. Whatever that means. So, censorship! Sorry. I won't say anymore.
At the end of your book, if you say, please buy my book, and you offer like other places to buy your book, or like you mention that it's for sale on other platforms. I've had one where I had one book on Draft to Digital, just for example, which is to me everywhere else other than Amazon. And I had, please leave a review on Amazon. It really helps out a lot. And they got mad that I had the word Amazon in there because that was their rival. And so they demanded that I take it out. Otherwise, I can't publish on Barnes & Noble or Apple. I think it was Apple. It was either Barnes & Noble or Apple Books, one of those two that was throwing a fit about it. Yeah. So it's probably stuff like that. Like if you're mentioning anything that rivals Amazon, they're going to skip over it and not read it.
That's irritating. It says overall, they say the benefits outweigh its drawbacks. I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. It says, I don't know.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
The one thing for me that may be the positive, if this exists, is if this virtual voice thing allows you to sell your audiobook wide, and you can sell this voiceover thing on other platforms like Spotify or whatever, then that would be better, because for somebody who doesn't have money, if you're on ACX,
and that's what I was just getting ready to say.
You're forced to stay on Audible only.
Well, and one thing,
know if they would allow that.
And like the one positive thing that I could see from this is that for indie authors that are on a budget crunch, like they are budget restrictions, they can't spend a lot of money. This is a great way for them to get an audiobook given some choices. Yeah, you can do some editing to get the pronunciations correct, but it's like it gives them options, whereas before, it's like jumping through hoops. And I know you've mentioned that with ACX before, and they do give virtual voice alternatives, and they bring up ACX, and they talk about ACX at the end of the article too. So and they kind of give you a breakdown of creating an audiobook on ACX, so it kind of goes through how to do that, which you've talked in detail with me before. But
it's essentially all owned by the same company, so that's the interesting thing, is it's all under Amazon's umbrella, because like Audible is their ACX is Audible self-publishing platform. This is done via KDP, which is their ebook and paperback and hardback self-publishing platform. So it's like it's all part of the same company, kind of.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
So they're plugging themselves.
I don't know. I don't know. For me, I've really I've had a lot of issues with narrators, but the ones that I've worked with that have been loyal and supportive and helpful, I've really enjoyed. And I love Brandon, because he was the narrator of Assassin, and when I had not one but two narrators quit on me for Immortal, he offered to help me out, and I'm so just so grateful to him, because I wanted to work with somebody I can trust at that point.
How's that going?
He has apologized because he's been busy. I completely forgot all about it and got distracted. So he's getting ready to wrap things up. He's actually he just quit his job, and he's moving to narration full time.
Sweet.
So he's hoping to get me the 15-minute checkpoint.
Awesome.
By a couple weeks. And which for me, what I did was I wrote the character guide at the end that has all the characters. I added one line of dialogue for every character in the book that has a speaking part. And so we're going to do that for the 15-minute
That'd be good. That'd be handy.
Once he records the whole book, it's a nightmare to edit. So if Kondo is wrong and Crazy Horse is wrong and this character's wrong, then editing it afterward, if we get it right first, then he can go into
that makes
right
sense.
Voices.
That's smart, honestly.
Yeah. And so that's what I did. But so the fun part was that Aiden's short story companion, so it's Assassin, his short story companion called Victorious, in that scene, spoiler alert, Aiden actually talks with Jace. And cool. Brandon, being the voice of Aiden, he's recording that book, so he got to actually speak as Aiden and Jace.
That's
and make
awesome.
Sure that we the voices and make sure that Jace is different from Aiden.
That's awesome.
So that was kind of a fun. It was a coincidence because at the time we hadn't planned for him to do Immortal, but I was like, hey, you've got to do Jace's voice anyway for Victorious. So yeah, that's pretty much that. But and then other random, since we're on the subject, the narrator of Samurai, Colleen. Why did I forget her name? Colleen. I always forget her name, but anyways, Colleen's the narrator of Samurai. She's moving to business non-fiction-y audiobooks, and so out of the kindness of her heart, she offered to just give me the rights to the audiobooks for free.
I remember you saying that.
I don't have to be exclusive. And she's re-upload. We had to take the book down. I had to republish the book on ACX, wait for approval, and then she had to re-upload all the audio files, and then I had we had to do the 15-minute checkpoint first, even though we don't need it, and then we had to upload all the files, and then I had to go through and approve it as a book, and now we're waiting for the payment to go through, and once she clicks that she's been paid, which she's not gonna do because she told me that she doesn't need it, then we have to go through a 10-day approval period, and then the audiobook will be for sale, and then I can take it and hopefully put it on other platforms.
That's awesome.
So, and she's honestly, she's been the most well received, and she's the best narrator that I've ever worked with. And she did so good that I've had readers tell me that they don't even want me to get a male narrator for Shinji and Ryosuke, because she does the guy characters in that really well as well. And I don't know what I'm going to do for Akari's voice in the future, because she is like the best at Akari, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. But yeah, so I think that's everything. Did you have any other?
Not really. I'm sure I'll remember something after the fact. I also want to read. I also want to read the next book in the Harry Potter series at some point, but I didn't know. I almost put it on my TBR. I almost swapped it with Crescent City, but I don't know.
Nice.
I think that one's the one. It's gonna take me a while to finish Harry Potter. I think it's just whenever I get in the mood for it.
That's how I feel about Throne of Glass.
Yeah.
So, which you're like, come on, but.
It's so it is so angsty and emotional. I'm like, literally the one book that you got stuck after is the one book that doesn't have lots of angst. It's literally the one book with no angst.
I think honestly, my honest take on Throne of Glass, like the book, not the series, is that if I had read this at the time that I read The Hunger Games when I was a teenager, I would have loved it. I would. It's just my 30-year-old self was like, 3-star read. But yeah,
which is what I get. I think that's what I give it to you. So.
Yeah, to be fair. But yeah, let us know how your guys' January TBR went and what you read and all your thoughts. And if you're reading Onyx Storm, all our Onyx Storm readers, let us know what you're thinking. Yeah. Just don't spoil anything.
Yep.
We will probably do a spoiler talk discussion video by itself when she finishes Onyx Storm. Yes. I have a master list. There's a bullet point. You know how in Word you can do bullet points, and then you can go in and do bullet points under bullet points?
Oh, yeah.
Literally,
like double or triple tiered bullet points. Okay, cool.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the extra long stream tonight. We had a lot to talk about, so
we had a lot.
Yeah, like we've hit like 2 hours and like 6 minutes, so like probably our longest live stream in a hot minute. So, yeah. Woo-hoo. I know people. I know we have viewers that comment after the fact. So, yeah. See you guys in the comments, and we're always posting shorts and stuff like that. So, yeah. All right.
I'm gonna try to do some shorts that are not always over by my couch, but like I always.
Mine are always at my either in the kitchen.
Over on my couch.
Yeah, mine are always either in my kitchen, or in front of the bookshelves. Typically. Yeah. So, all right. Goodbye.
All right.
Bye.